It was initially marketed as a new car for Cadillac homes. Hi, it's Bud Wilkinson. Today it's a story on a 1937 LaSalle that was built by General Motors as a companion brand to the Cadillac. Luxurious and sporty for its time, the LaSalle brand was slotted a shade below Cadillac. Alan Grunder of Torrington, Connecticut, spent 15 years restoring a 1937 LaSalle Series 50 convertible with a rumble seat in the rear.
My father bought the car in 1966, and in the early 70s, he started taking it apart and working on it, and did a little bit of body work to it, and then it got put away in storage.
It sat for decades until Grunder finally sprung into action.
I started working slowly on it and then rebuilt the motor and just took the whole car apart piece by piece.
It wasn't until late last spring that the LaSalle got back on the road. Its first public showing came at a car show at Lime Rock Park Racetrack in Lakeville over the Labor Day weekend. What was LaSalle's reputation?
Well, from what I understand, it was just the cheap Cadillac, the economy Cadillac, really.
Grunder's ragtop version is a bit of a rarity.
Being it's a convertible rumble seat, they did only make 995 of them. Because I don't think it was a very practical car back then for, probably a family, being two seats.
That's because it has limited seating capacity with a solo bench seat inside the passenger compartment.
There's no room for groceries in it. That's where, when we got it, there was no seat springs in the rumble seat because I think they used that as the trunk. It has a trunk, but the spare tire's in there.
The LaSalle is powered by a 322 cubic inch flathead V8 engine and has a 3-speed manual transmission with floor shifter.
It actually drives really well because I put radial tires on it, so that's the only modification really that I've done to it, and it actually does drive pretty good. It takes the bumps really well, and it is actually a pretty smooth ride.
LaSalle models were built from 1927 to 1940. They were a little more affordable, a little more stylish than Cadillacs, but General Motors did build them in Cadillac factories. Do very many people remember the LaSalle brand?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I went to Hershey, and there was maybe about a half a dozen LaSalles there of different years, but I don't think it was a name that stood out that much to my knowledge, but I'm not sure.
Grunder did have a challenge restoring the LaSalle after his father's earlier effort. What was the toughest part about getting it taken apart and back together?
Probably a lot of it, because he took it apart so many years ago, finding all the parts and pieces in different buildings where it was all scattered about. And there was some parts took a long time to find, but I did find pretty much everything except one piece of chrome that we don't know if it got lost being chromed, because he did have a lot of the chrome done on the car back in the 70s.
What do you like about it? What stands out to you about this car?
It's just, a small, unique car in a way, small for that time, but also just being a convertible rumble seat. And I think it was like owning a Corvette today. Is my personal opinion, because it really, it wasn't a family car. It was, more where you take another person with you, but other than that, it's not an everyday car that you're going to see at a car show.
That's my ride. For CT Insider, I'm Bud Wilkinson.